So today we'll be exploring one of the most visually satisfying applications of the definite integral, which is computing the volume of solids of revolution. So up until now, we've been using definite integrals to find areas under curves, essentially measuring flat two-dimensional regions. So today we take that a step further. So we're going to take a flat region, spin it around an axis, and calculate the volume of the three-dimensional solid it sweeps out. So recalling our previous method in solving for a solid of revolutions volume, so we go to the next method called the washer method. So basically, it is essentially an extension used when there is what we call a hole or cavity in the solid. So for example, when a region between the two curves is revolved around an axis, let's say the x-axis, so representative thin rectangle creates a what we call washer shaped slice with a thickness of dx and an inner radius that we are going to label with r sub I and this outer radius, which is labeled using r sub O. Okay, so it's a circular disc, but there's a hole or cavity inside. So the radius here would depend on how far is this curve from the axis of rotation. And the outer radius would depend on how far is this curve here that is touching the upper end, okay, of your vertical strip is away. Okay, how many units is it away from the axis of rotation? So in short, we use washer method if the strip is perpendicular to the axis of rotation, but it does not touch the said axis of rotation. If the entire area is from this point to this point, so this is how the solid looks like. So it's a cylinder inside. Okay, so hollow part is cylindrical, and then the outer part would be um a part or portion of a cone. So if a cone is cut here, so it forms this um set of thin slices, so thin washers. So to solve for the volume, we're going to add all those thin slices volumes, then we get pi times the square of the outer radius minus the square of the inner radius. Is basically the volume of a circular disc minus the volume of another circular disc. The smaller circular disc is cut from this bigger one, so that's why it's the difference between the two, and the common factor is pi. So find the volume of the solid generated by revolving the region bounded by this conic section and 2x minus 3 equals 0 about the y-axis. So since the x squared and the y squared terms are not of the same numerical coefficient, it's plus here, meaning this is the equation for an ellipse. So it's similar to a circle, but the circle has the same coefficients here for the x squared and the y squared terms. So if it's not, then it's an ellipse, so it's like a stretched circle. Okay. So if different coefficients or same coefficients, but the operation here subtraction, then it represents a hyperbola. So for this ellipse, we're going to locate the center and the vertices, okay? Four vertices on the ellipse using the standard equation. So let's transform this first to standard equation. So the right side of the equation, standard equation for an ellipse should be equal to 1, and the left side should be containing um, the variables a with x squared and y squared, and maybe x and y terms, okay, but not necessary. And could also contain constant terms. So since there are no x and y terms, so meaning the h and k, h and k values are 0. So there's over a squared here, over b squared here equals 1. Okay. And h, k are the coordinates of the center of the ellipse. So a is half of the length of the major axis, and b is half of the length of the minor axis. Semi-major axis for A and semi-minor axis for B. So the numerator should have 1 only as the multiplier here for these two expressions. So meaning we are going to divide this and this by a common number, and the remaining constant on the right side should be equal to 1. So the most common multiple for 4 and 9 is 36. So we can divide everything by 36. And we come up with x squared over 9 plus y squared over 4. For transfer 36 to the right side, so it becomes positive divided by 36, so it's equal to 1. So again, the center of the ellipse is at 0, 0, since there are no x and y terms. And then the major axis is labeled using letter A and the minor axis using letter B. So between the two, K9 is greater. So this represents A squared. So A therefore is 3 and B is square root of 4 or 2. So if the bigger number is below the x variable, so meaning your major axis is horizontal. If it falls under this y expression, then the major axis is vertical, so parallel to the y-axis. So for the center is the origin, so here, and then since the major axis is horizontal, so we have to count these 3 units to the right and to the left, and these 2 units above and below the center. So that's 1, 2, 3 units here. So 3 units here. So these are the vertices on the major axis of the ellipse. And for the minor axis, we have 2 units above the center and 2 units below the center. And then we connect, okay, using a smooth curve. So since 3 and 2 are just near, values are near, so expect that the ellipse is getting the form that is dual sa circle. Okay. So the greater the difference between A and B, so the more stretch the ellipses. So show me the ellipse na niya. Okay. So, ano na siya? Symmetrical. So, show me that symmetrical na siya. Above and below the x-axis and to the right and to the left, to the right and to the left of the y-axis. So next is the other function, um, limiting the area that we're going to rotate. This is a line, okay, a vertical line which passes through to x equals 3 or x equals 3 halves. Okay, so that's x equals 3 halves. So it passes to x equals 3 halves or 1.5, 1.5 here. And we can get the point or points of intersection. So this is the line, and the area is going to be rotated about the y-axis. So actually there are two areas, okay, but we're going to analyze. So you're going to rotate it, okay, about the y-axis. So it must mean this area, okay, and not this area, since this is already touching the axis of rotation. So since this is washer method, so the strip, okay, shouldn't touch the axis of rotation. And our axis of rotation is vertical. It's the y-axis. So meaning for washer method, I'm going to have a horizontal strip. Okay, so for the horizontal strip, so we have, hey, wait, I. So the left end is the line and the right end is the circle. So this is the horizontal strip with thickness dy, and the outer radius is the distance from the axis of rotation, so it's the y-axis, okay, to this right end of the horizontal strip. So this is our outer radius, r sub o, and then the inner radius, okay, is until here, okay, the left end of the horizontal strip. So for the outer radius, it's just equal to x, okay, distance from the y-axis is x, so the x of the ellipse. So let me use letter E for ellipse, and then the inner radius would be that distance of the line from the y-axis. Since it's a vertical line parallel to the y-axis, so its distance, okay, is constant. The distance of the points from the y-axis is constant. So it's x equals 1.5, okay, or 3 halves. So let's use fraction form. So we can now solve for the volume. Let's put the constant outside, and then integral of the outer radius squared minus inner radius squared. We're using a horizontal strip, so we'll use dy. So the expression here should be in terms of y. So it's pi times outer radius is the x of the ellipse, and then inner, it's squared, and then inner is 3/2 squared. Let's put the limits later, and then 5 times the integral of ellipse is x squared. So I need to solve for x. We are going to square it. So just solve for x squared directly. So let's just put the expression here, or the equation here. So we're going to transfer 36 and 9y squared to the other side. Divide everything by 4 to solve for x squared. Or that's 1/4 times. So let's put the constant na lang daan here sa gawas. So that's 1/4 of 36 minus 9y squared. Okay, minus 9/4 square of 3/2 is 9/4. So the common factor of the two expressions is 1/4. So we can put the 1/4 na lang daan outside. So that's pi times 1/4 or pi/4. And then we have 36 minus pi squared, and then minus just 9, okay, for the second part. Because we are factoring out 1/4. So 9/4 divided by 1/4, it's equal to 9. And then simplifying. So let's start with the y squared term, and then followed by the constant term, 36 minus 9, so that's 27. And the limits are y values. So it's from here to here. Okay, y values, we don't have these values yet. So we're going to solve for them. So the lower limit should be here, the upper limit here, or limit here. So we have to solve for the value of y if x is 3/2. So let's put it here at x equals, okay, 3/2 from the equation of the ellipse. So that's 4 times 3/2 squared plus 9y squared minus 36. Okay, equals 0. That's 4 times 9/4. It's 9. Okay, plus 9y squared minus 36. Or that's 9y squared. And then 36 minus 9, or 27. Okay, divided by 9. So y squared is 3. So y therefore are positive and negative square root of 3. So approximately 1.7. So shown in the graph, so it's possible to have 1.7. Okay, less than 2 and greater than 1. Greater than 1. So our limits are from negative square root of 3 to positive square root of 3. And continue with the integration process. So integral of negative 9y squared. So that's negative 9y cubed over 3. Or it's 3y cubed, and then plus 27y. Evaluate from negative square root of 3 to positive square root of 3. That's pi over 4 times negative 3 times square root of 3 cubed plus 27 times square root of 3. And that's for upper limit minus negative 3 times negative square root of 3 cubed plus 27 times square root of 3. That's pi over 4. And then we have negative 3 times cube root of 3 is 3, or cube of square root of 3 is 3 square root of 3 plus 27 square root of 3 and minus negative 3 times square of negative square root of 3 is positive 3 times negative square root of 3 is 3 square root of 3 and then minus 27 square root of 3 and verify by using your calculator. So that's 27. This is 9, negative 9 plus 27. These are similar terms. So that's 18. 18 square root of 3 minus, this is positive 9 minus 27 is a negative 18 minus negative 18, or that's plus 18. That's 36 times square root of 3. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So that's 9 square root of 3 times pi, or 9 pi square root of 3. And it's in cubic units. Find the volume of the solid generated by revolving the region bounded by y equals x squared and x squared plus y squared minus 4 equals 0 about the x-axis. So the first curve is a parabola which opens upward since the x is being squared and not y. So in standard form, that's x minus 0, quantity squared equals y. So the vertex, okay, is at 0, 0, so that's y minus 0. And since it's bounded by, the area is bounded by another curve, so solving for A to locate the focus is not necessary. Okay, so we'll use points of intersection instead. So for the second curve, it's a conic section and it's a circle since the coefficients of x squared and y squared terms are the same and the operation is addition. Okay, so there's no x term, so meaning for the circle, it's x minus h. The circle, the standard form for its equation, so it's x minus h squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals radius squared. So since we have only x squared and no x terms, so meaning h is 0. And then for y minus k quantity squared, so there's a y term, so that's y squared minus 4y. So we need to complete the square, okay, to get a perfect square trinomial. So the last term should be 4, right? It should be 4 to get, okay, a square of a binomial. So if and only if y squared has a 1, the numerical coefficient, so the shortest way is just to divide this by 2 and then square the result. So 4 divided by 2 is 2 and then squared is 4. So we're adding 4 to one side of the equation. So make sure that the same amount is added on the other side.
Here's what I found.
Okay. So transforming the perfect square trinomial into square of binomial, so it's y minus 2 quantity squared. And then it's r squared, so it's 2 squared. And then um, So we can now locate the center of the circle at HK. So it's 0 and then 2. Radius is 2. And we get the points of intersection between the circle and parabola to know the region bounded by them. So we'll equate x squared so that it would be easier to solve for y. So since they have a common x squared, no x terms, so x squared of the parabola is just equal to the x squared of the circle. Okay, so x squared for the parabola is just equal to y, and for the circle it's 4y minus y squared. Okay, so 4y minus y squared. And then combining like terms, so we get, we'll transfer the y squared to the side where it is positive. And then for the y terms, it's 1y minus 4y. It's negative 3y. Then equating it to 0, and then by factoring, we solve for the values of y. So it's y times y plus 3 equals 0. So y equals 0, and y is equal to 3. And for the values of x, that y equals 0, x is also 0, at y equals 0, so x is 0, so x is 0, and for y equals 3, so if y is 3, then x is square root of 3. Okay, two values, by the way, for square root of 3. Okay, positive and negative square root of 3. So let's now label the Cartesian planes. I think we can use 1 unit. And then for the center of the circle, it's 0, 2. So 0, 2. And the radius is 2. So we count 2 units below the center, 2 units above the center, and then 2 units to the right, 2 units to the left, and then draw the circle. And before we do that, okay, para medyo tarong ang circle, or maybe just a portion of it is needed for this problem. So for the parabola opening apart, so the vertex is at 0, 0, 0, 0 also, same point here, and they meet at positive 3, or that's approximately 1.7, and then y is 3. So let me summarize the points of intersection. So 0, 0, positive square root of 3, 3, and negative square root of 3, 3. So 1.7 approximately. And then 3. So here, here, then negative 1.7 and 3. So here. So the circle and the parabolas will pass through these points. So let's start here with the parabola. So using a smooth curve na medyo di man siya smooth. Ay, so anyway. Shucks. Ay, oh no. And then for the circle, so I think we need to extend the And for the circle, so it will be here. So I will not draw the entire circle. We're after this area only. So this area only. Okay. And we're going to rotate that about the x-axis. Okay. So about the x-axis. Okay. So since our axis of rotation is to call this horizontal, so we must use a vertical strip. It should be perpendicular with the axis of rotation. Oh no. So upper end of the strip touches the circle and the lower end touches the parabola. Okay, so we have here the outer radius which touches the parabola. Okay, this is outer, and then inner would be touching the green curve or the parabola. So here, so for the outer curve, that's from the x-axis, so y values of the circle, y of the circle, and for the inner radius, that's y of the parabola. So the volume would be pi times outer radius squared minus inner radius squared. We're using a vertical strip, so times the x. So outer is y of the circle squared minus y of the parabola squared. So we must change the y to x because our variable of integration is x. So y of the circle squared is just 4y minus x squared, 4y minus x squared, quantity squared, and, sorry, that's already y squared, 4y minus x squared, and then for y of the parabola squared. So y is x squared, and then need to square it. So it's x to the power 4. And for the limits, we have here x values. So the x here is negative square root of 3, and x here is positive square root of 3. So negative square root of 3, positive square root of 3. So from the previous slide, so I made a mistake here. It shouldn't be 4y minus x squared. Okay, because the variable is the x, so dapat there's no y term here. So the equation for the given circle, we write it here. That's x squared plus y squared minus 4y equals 0. So this should be this term should be equal to y squared, and yeah, should be equal to um y squared. So since there's a y term here, so we're going to go back to the x squared trinomial earlier, or the standard form, that it's y minus 2 quantity squared equals 2 squared, or 4. So if we're going to transfer x squared to the other side, so we'll have square of y minus 2 only on this side, and 4 minus x squared on the other side, getting the square root of the left and the right side. So we have y minus 2, and then square root of 4 minus x squared. So y, there are two values, positive and negative. And then we're solving for y, so y is 2 plus minus square root of 4 minus x squared. So since this is a circle, so there are values that are above here and below. Okay, so the first semicircle has more positive y values compared to the points on the lower semicircle. So the 2 plus square root of 4 minus x squared are the ones here. So that's 1, 2 minus r, okay, on the lower part. So we're going to use the 2 plus square root of 4 minus x squared for that, and then we're going to square it. So that's y, which is 2 plus square root of 4 minus x squared, and then quantity squared, that's for y squared. And no problem with the next term because it's ready for the parabola. We're going to expand that. So it's 4 plus 4 square root of 4 minus x squared plus 4 minus x squared, right? And then minus x to the power of 4. And then let's arrange the terms. So negative x to the power of 4 minus x squared, and then plus 4 square root of 4 minus x squared, and then plus 8. So for these terms, you can integrate them directly, but for this one term, so we're going to use trigonometric substitution. So 4 square root of 4 minus x squared. So solve this separately, and then go back to this step, label it as 1. So let's focus first on the square root of 4 minus x squared dx. And to review on trigonometric substitution, so since it's in the form a squared minus c squared, so we let u, which is x, be equal to a sine theta, or that's 2 sine theta. So sine is x over 2. So we have opposite side is x, and hypotenuse is 2, and this is equal to 4 minus x squared. So 4 minus x squared over 2, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, or cosine So that's 2 cosine theta and then dx. Okay, from uh, this equation, dx is 2 cosine theta. That's times 2 cosine theta d theta. So that's 4 cosine squared, or that's, yeah, 4 and then times cosine squared theta d theta. 4, 4 cosine squared theta d theta. So that's using an identity. So that's 1/2 plus 1/2 cosine of double angle. So 2 times theta. Okay. So I'll put we'll factor out 1/2 para wala na fractions. Together with 4, we place them outside. And then what we have left is 1 plus 1 cosine 2 theta. So that's 2 times integral of 1 is theta and of cosine. So that's plus 1/2. Okay, sine 2 theta, neutralizing factor is 1/2, right? And we're going to evaluate this, okay, later. So we'll plug in theta, which is our sine of, that was e over 2, and then 1/2, and sine 2 theta is sine theta, 2 times sine theta, sine theta, cosine theta. So I'm going to replace this with that from the triangle. Okay, this is bale. This is 2 here, and this is x here. So it's square root of 4 minus x squared here. It's arc sine of x over 2 and not u over 2. Sorry, x over 2. And then that's 2 arc sine x over 2 plus 2 times sine is x over 2, and cosine is square root of 4 minus x squared over. So 2 arc sine of x over 2 plus x squared of 4 minus x squared over 2. And we'll evaluate along this ahead before the other terms. So x values, we have square root of 3 for the upper limit, negative square root of 3 for the lower limit. So it's 2 arc sine of square root of 3 over 2 plus square root of 3 and square root of 4 minus square root of 3 is 3. And then all over 2. That's for the first part. And then minus 2 arc sine of negative square root of 3 over 2 plus negative square root of 3. Sorry. Times square root of 4 minus square root of negative square root of 3 is positive square root of the positive 3. That's 4 minus 3 all over 2. So, bale, it's not 0. Double siya because this is positive. Wait. And this becomes positive. So that's to square root of 3 times this is just equal to 1. Okay, while for the arcsine part, so arcsine of square root of 3 over 2, so which angle will give a sine value of square root of 3 over 2, so it's 60 degrees. Okay, or that's pi over 3. So times pi over 3, and then plus square root of 3 over 2 minus 2 times arcsine of negative square root of 3 over 2. So it's probably negative 60 degrees. So negative pi over 3, and then um, this becomes plus square root of 3 over 2. So that's 2 pi over 3 plus another 2 pi over 3. So that's 4 pi over 3. And then this is square root of 3. Okay, this is just for the trigo part. So this be our second expression. Let's go back to the main equation. Okay, so we have negative, and there's a pi pala here. Okay, so it's pi times negative x to the power 5 over 5 minus x cubed over 3 plus 4 times. Okay, so we'll put the last part or the one solve using trigo substitution in the last part. So plus 8x, and then going to multiply by the 4 and square root of the result na multiply pa nato by 4 pi, see 4 pi over 3 plus square root of 3. And then we're going to evaluate this from negative square root of 3 to square root of 3. So pi times, okay, square root of 3 to 5, so that's 9 square root of 3 over 5 minus 3 square root of 3 over 3 plus 8 square root of 3. And for the second part, so it's minus negative, and then negative 9 square root of 3 over 5 minus negative 3 square root of 3 over 3 plus or minus 8 square root of 3. Okay, plus 16 pi squared over 3 plus 4 pi square root of 3. So that's pi times negative 9 plus negative 9. That's negative 18 square root of 3 over 5. This is 1 square root of 3, negative 1 square root of 3 minus another 1 square root of 3. That's negative 2 square root of 3. And then we have 8 minus negative 8, 16 square root of 3 plus 16 pi squared over 3 plus 4 pi squared over 3. So we have, we're going to combine these, so that's 14 times 5, so 70 minus 18. So minus 18, that's 52. 52. Ay, that's negative. Sorry, 14 times 7 is 18, so that's 52. Pi square root of 3 all over 5 plus 16 pi squared over 3 plus 4 pi square root of 3. Or approximately